Hello world, welcome to QSTPS. This is the LGBTQ Center for Science, Theology, Philosophy, and Spirituality, where we discuss science, theology, philosophy, and spirituality with an LGBTQ perspective. And so we are back and we've done another video that was we were supposed to do this video at that time, but because it was a very nice topic, I'm enjoying cosmology and astrology, so I had to do it differently. Now we are coming back to what we're discussing, and we're discussing how to solve the problems of this world where we are. You are here, that's where we are, and the earth is here, and this is all the universe. Look at this other interstellar world. There it is. There it is. That small dot below the stardust of the sun. There. You see, this is a solar system. This is where we are. And everybody's dancing around the sun. But this one is another sun, is another star. And other planets are going around it. And the conditions create water. You know? Water is a chemical. That's all. If you want to produce water in the lab, you can actually do it. Do you know they still had? They don't know how to create water. But it's a chemical. And a very, oh my God, don't let me go to chemistry now. Let's focus. So anyway, the world is chemicals. Yes, the world is chemicals. And very soon we will be able to create blood. Yes, very soon we'll be able to create water in the lab. And the moment we create water, that's the end. No more loss of water. And we can even go and make water in the planets that don't have water, like Mars. We will go and make water there. We'll make blood. It's happening. Science is we are breaking portals every day, every minute. We are thinking. We are living in such an age whereby ideas are popping like mad. You know, like madness. I was even thinking to myself, about intersexuality. We are going to make human beings through genetic engineering that have both functioning vagina and penis, so that the person not only menstruates but also releases semen. It's coming. We will have human beings that are fully intersex, so that they can, women who can release semen and men who can give birth. That's what's happening thanks to genetic engineering. So the world is changing. That's why what you're seeing with the LGBTQ movement, it is preparing us for that world. Yes, the world is coming. So if you're a woman and you really want to fuck a man, you're going to do it. It's coming. And if you're a man and you just say, I don't want to know how it feels to carry a baby, it's coming. And it's because of the discovery in science and the understanding that LGBTQ people are natural and genetic. Yes. That's what has happened. That's why there's chaos. Do you know why the world is having a lot of chaos? I did the video a long time ago, and I told you people, it's because of the apocalypse. Many things are being revealed that are causing mayhem in the system. And that's what we want to discuss about. Look what's happening in America right now. Let's go to the CNN, our favorite news network. I know Trump doesn't like it, but I like it. I love CNN. It's very international. And let's look at the news. Look at it right now. Trump brands impeachment inquiry as a coup. Live updates from Britain. If Brexit talks fail, no deal is the alternative. Look at that. It's chaos. Because this lady, she decided to jump to meet a lion, almost died. Meghan sues tabloid as Harry Ripp's intentionally destructive publication of a private letter. Of course, another thing I like about CNN's website, they have nice stories. So the startup sells South African sunshine around the world. So there you are. That's a nice story. But here, look at these ones. Another wild day of the Trump scandal, Ukraine scandal. Look at Britain. And as I've told you in the other video, these guys are going through what is called the Libra, judgment. And so how can we solve the problems in the world? The world has so many problems, There are so many problems. So many problems. And things are just, of course, people are saying, but I'm still enjoying life. Yes, you are, but constitutionally, the world is in a crisis. And we want to give a solution to this crisis that the world is in. And this is a solution. Let us create the United States of Gaia, or the United States of planet Earth, Usopa or Usoga. Now, you're like, what? I thought we are happy with United States of America and European Union and African Union. Well, we have all of those, but we're still having problems. And this is my reasoning why we should have United States of Gaia or United States of planet Earth, Usopa. And then when we move to Mars, we're going to create the United States of planet Mars, Usopma. And when we move to Venus, if we can, there's too much poisonous gas there, so we won't do that. So I think Mars is the best place to go, and so we'll have Usopma. And then we will be doing videos from Mars and Earth, and we'll be saying, hi, Usoga, we're okay, Usoma, or Usopka, Usopi, because United States of planet Earth is greeting United States of planet Mars. And we're going to have planetary states. Now, why do I want that? Because when I look at the world systems, the best political system to manage crisis, in my opinion, is the American federal system, whereby all the countries in America has countries, they are called states. They have one president, but they are controlled, but they have governors who control the different countries. So I prefer the American system to any system in the world. Now, which other system is in the world? It is the monarchy that is in Britain, which is also having a crisis. Do you know why Britain is having a crisis? They are constitutional monarchy. That's why there's problems, because it is the people versus the monarch. It is an arrangement between the people and the monarch. The old monarchies have been done away with, and they are not really in power. They were absolute monarchs, whereby it is only the king ruling. Nobody else had a say but the king. And he was surrounded by nobles who come and see him and advise him on what to do. So I want you to see the American political system, and that's what it is. It has a federal government power, but this is not a good map. I want one that shows us the whole what do you call it, the whole system. Yes, this is now better. Well, but this is not from America. But it has it's better. Let's use it. So this is the president. He's on top, and no, I don't like this one. It's not so clear. So basically, the absolute monarchy is one person, but the constitutional monarchy includes the absolute monarchy includes the constitutional monarchy includes the people. They elect a prime minister, but the monarchy is familial. It means it's a line. All right? So you have the royal family, and then you have the republic. Those are the people. So the people pick a prime minister who is the public servant of the monarchy and the people. All right? So, like, that's why the Boris Johnson issue was so crazy, because he was not elected by the people, he was elected by his party. And he was supposed to, and he went to Parliament and told Parliament what he wants to do, and Parliament refused. And so he was like, okay, now you've refused, then let me close Parliament and we come back again, and we can even have an election to decide which way the country is to go. And so he went and told the Queen, and the Queen can't say no, because she's not the only ruler. You know, she's ruling together with the Prime Minister. So she said, fine, do what you want. I mean, I can't say no. I'm not elected, so I can't act on my own. And that's what happened. And so then they took Boris Johnson to court because they feel he acted illegally. And that's what the court said. He was not right to prorogue Parliament. Well, I don't know. There are very many arguments. Personally, I support the proroguing of Parliament by Boris Johnson on the basis that he lost a vote. You see, it's a maddest thing. The Parliament was supposed to even have an election. They were to tell, I was expecting Labour to say, yes, let's have an election. The opposition party, that's Labour. And any other, they were supposed to say, yes, we should have an election because you're not elected. Yes. No one, Boris Johnson was picked by his party to be prime minister. That is not democratic, you know. So what was supposed to happen? There was supposed to be a general election to know who's going to be prime minister, even if it's Boris Johnson. And then he can now do whatever he wants. Prorogue Parliament, he's done it. He has power to do it. He's an elected prime minister. So I feel sorry for him that people are putting him in a situation whereby they are not understanding the tight situation he was in. He was supposed to be elected and then exercise all the powers he has. So for me, I am like, nah, the guy was right to say that the country needed to do an election so that to sort out the mess. And of course we don't know what's going to happen. And even if he won the election, that's better. Now they wouldn't attack him if he prorogued Parliament. Yes, that's my position. Anyway, so let's look at the American political system. And they have a presidential democracy. And that's what Britain has. It has a prime minister democracy, whereby they elect a prime minister. But the prime minister is not the head of state. But in America, the head of state is the president. All right? Now, voters choose the president and the VP, not a family, not the royal family. The It is the people, voters, and not the people, a voter. All right, it's time to be specific. The world has changed. Let's be detailed. So, voters, not people. Voters choose the president and the VP. So if you don't vote, you are not involved in the government. All right? That's what you need to understand. If you didn't vote, you're not involved in the government. Even if you're a citizen, yes, you are really on the fringes. Then, states are more autonomous than provinces in Canada. Now, in Canada, they also have a federal system, but the provinces are less autonomous, meaning they rule themselves. So, who knows? Even Canada is better. We'll look at the Canadian political system. Now, you have the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Then the legislative has the Congress, and it has the Senate and the House of Representatives. So these are the people who are in charge of making the laws. Then you have the president and the vice president under the executive wing, and the cabinet, the secretaries. And then you have the judicial wing, and it is ruled by the Supreme Court and the courts of law in every state. Okay, so let's put the American political system there. I like that one. It has tried to explain what I want to explain for our United States of Gaia. Then we have, let's do the Canadian political system, because I'm seeing it's similar. And even Nigeria has the same system as America. Okay. So there is Canada. In Canada, the Queen, not the President, is the head of state. And she's represented by the Governor General. All right? And then you have the executive, and the Senate flows from there, and the House of Commons. That's the legislative branch. So the Queen has two hands, the executive branch and the legislative branch. Of course, there should be three. So the executive branch is led by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, that's Trudeau. And then the legislative branch is led by the House of Commons and Senate, appointed on the Prime Minister's recommendation. They are not elected. So it's just like it's like Britain. The House of Lords, they are not elected. So in Canada, they also do not elect the senators. They are appointed on the Prime Minister's recommendation. And the House of Commons is picked. They are picked by the people. That's why it's called Commons. The common people, the common man, the vulgar. You know, the guys who say fuck it and shit. That's their house. This one, they can't say that. And I was laughing to myself when I was watching the UK Parliament, and the guy, Burko, the speaker, Mr. Oder, decided to say he doesn't give a flying flamingo. And I was like, I thought he was going to say he doesn't give a fuck. And I realized he's a very kind speaker because he's in the House of Commons. So I asked myself, I wonder if he said I don't give a fuck instead of I don't give a flying flamingo, will they write that in the Hansard? You know, they will, and it's going to be very interesting. Anyway, that's just a joke. Now, the judiciary is also led by the Supreme Court of Canada and the Federal Court of Canada and the provincial courts. So, in Canada, the Supreme Court is not the federal court. It is the highest court, and it has the federal court. That's the government court of Canada and the provincial courts. So from the provincial courts, you move to the federal court, and when the case is not solved, you go to the Supreme Court of Canada. But in America, it's different. The highest court is the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And your case goes to direct there in case the state courts have failed. All right? Now, that's Canada. Let's see Nigerian political system. And this is this is a political video, therefore philosophical. Now, in this is what's affecting EU. You know, the problem that's happening and Brexit, it's about the political arrangement. Some people are not happy with the fact that Brussels is the parliament of Europe. And that's what I want to discuss today. I support the federal system of America, that it should be global. And we have one place that makes laws for everybody. All right? Now let's look at Nigeria. Now that's Nigeria. Sorry, this is a ministry. Let's go to Nigeria before we go to Britain. Now this is, you can see, oh my God, Nigeria is so busy. I was laughing at something I just read in one of the chats there, and I was like, wow. All right, Nigeria. Okay, let's try this. So you have the federal government, and it has the executive branch, legislative branch, and the judicial branch. All right? That's the federal government. And then you have state government, and then you have a cabinet. All right? So every state government has a cabinet. And the federal government has a cabinet also. That's the executive branch, and has a legislation, House of Legislation, and they have courts. All right? So that's Nigeria. Now, let's go to the British political system. Remember last time I ended when I was doing my sabbatical. Okay, so this is the British political system. This is not clear. That's Canada still. British political system. Not yet. Wow. All right. So the basic structure of UK central government. So the monarch is a non-political position, and then from the monarch you have the legislature and the executive and the judiciary, which is also non-political. To be non-political means you're not elected. Okay. So legislature has the parliament, and it has two houses: the House of Commons, which is political, and the House of Lords, which is semi-political, meaning half of them are elected to be there, and other half are not. All right? And then executive is the prime minister and the cabinet, which is also political, meaning they are elected. All right? And then you have ministers and the civil service under the executive. These are non-political because the prime minister picks them to be ministers. And the civil service, you're not elected to be a civil servant. You are appointed. Okay? And then the court is non-political, the judiciary, and the Supreme Court is the highest court, and then you have the Court of Appeal. Now, in the past, Britain never had a Supreme Court. And so they had what was called the Queen's Bench, then the Privy Council, which is the problem they're having right now. This new system of Supreme Court, they never had it. That's why even Boris was, I was so shocked when Boris said he was not happy with the judgment of the Supreme Court, and I was like, which court will you go to? It's hard. So I was like, what? But I can understand what he's saying, because they were used to the Privy Council. Yeah, the Privy Council was the whole system, the highest court in Britain. And so so that's why he was like, he's a bit confused. Yes. And this was the biggest test. The court case is going to go down in history as the biggest test of the Supreme Court system in England. Right? Now let's look at China, just for educational purposes, just to know what happens in China. Okay, let's see the Chinese political system. So this is the Chinese political system. It has the head is a general secretary, and then you have the National People's Congress and the Standing Committee, Politburo, Central Committee, and the Prime Minister and the State Council. So China is a communist state, all right? Communist state. So that's how it is led. Premier, Prime Minister, President, National Congress, the Standing Committee from the chairman, and then you have the Politburo, then you have the Central Committee, then you have the Party Congress, and the Congress, Regional, District, Local, back to the citizens. Then you have the ministries, which are connected to the State Council, which is headed by the Prime Minister. And then you have the from the citizens again, you have the courts that go to the standing committee and goes to the premier. Then you also have from the citizens the Congress, Regional, District, Local. They now pick the members of the National Congress, and then they go to the standing committee, and then again to the Prime Minister and the President, and then you have the PLA. So you can see how China is very bureaucratic, and I don't support this system for these committees. Are you seeing how many people have jobs in China? So many people. Yeah, they pay all of these committee members. The Secretariat, another big thing. State Council, another big thing. Politburo, another big thing. Central Committee, another big thing. Party Congress, another big thing. Congress, oh my God, what's the tax in China? How do they tax these people? Let's see Chinese tax. I'm amazed. I want to see how much they tax the Chinese people. This is disaster. The tax rate is divided in 7 levels to the amount of taxable income of an individual's monthly salary and the salary, with the highest level at 45% and the lowest, you see. So they have the progressive tax system, meaning the more money you earn, the higher the taxes. Okay, let's look at that. Wow, because I mean, you can't have that system you can't have such a very big political system and little taxes. Okay, so that's how they do those things. So taxable income monthly, so 3%. Yeah, there you are, you see. So it's progressive. So the more you earn, the more you're taxed. That's in China. Now let's see America before we so you see the power of a political system. It affects taxation, it affects the economy and all of these things. All right, so there is America. So if you earn less than $15,000, the percentage of income tax paid is 0.1, 1.4, 4.1, 4.9, 21.9. Now, that's where it's a trick. I think that's where Trump went crazy. And so these guys between $200,000 and $250,000 per year, they pay less than the following groups. In fact, they're supposed to appear here. So that's weird. I don't know why they're punishing $50,000 to $200,000. It's just mad. And then now when you're a billionaire, they take half of your money, your income. So that's serious. So let's see. Tax, income tax, history of income tax. Of course, it's very long, very long, very long. Of course, that's what we've looked at right now. And all right, it's very interesting. So let's take what we've seen. And America is also progressive, only with that weird gap. I don't know what happened. I think Trump decided to forgive himself. He didn't want to pay a lot of tax, so he reduced it. I'm just joking. But it's weird to have a very I wonder what's the basis for that. I will do my own research later on. All right. So anyway, that's the different political systems in the world. So you've seen Britain. They have a monarch. And now I want to start. I am saying the United States of Gaia because I believe the American system, in my view, is the best. But we can also have, let's try and see a world with the British monarch. Let's say the world has a king. And we have one king who is the head, is the king of the world. And then we have a legislature, one world parliament. And in this one world parliament, we pick MPs. Of course, you can have a bicameral parliament or a unitary parliament. A unitary parliament means all the people are elected in one house. And I prefer that to the bicameral one, because the bicameral one, when there's war, you will fight in different houses, which is even more worse. It's better to fight in one house, like the House of Commons. In Britain, the crisis of Brexit is that the House of Commons wanted Brexit. Majority of the people, evidenced by the election and the referendum, they picked conservatives. You see, if it was that Britain didn't want to leave Europe and they elected conservatives, that would be weird, because the real point would be the party to vote for is Labour if you want to stay in Europe, in my view. But because the Brexit matter cuts across parties, it really didn't matter whether it's Labour or Conservatives in power. In any case, Labour has a bad record that people use badly. I like Labour, by the way. I love anyone who does social welfare is my friend. So I like Labour. But I know they are always bashed because they believe the economy collapsed because of Labour. And so it's always used to attack Labour. And even Labour is going through a hard time right now. I don't know how they will revive themselves from all that drama. But what I'm trying to say is that it makes sense that there's Brexit with a conservative government, because conservatives are very nationalistic and they love their country more than a region, which they don't even know French. They don't even know Spanish. Why should they bother themselves with their problems, you know? That's how a conservative and a nationalist thinks. It's like, I don't care. I don't know Spanish. I mean, they go there, they don't know even my language. So why should we work together? Let's do our things on our own. So it makes sense that the conservatives are there and they want Brexit. But my point is that the House of Lords said no. They are going to stay in Europe. You see? The House of Lords did not want Brexit. And that's the war. It's between those two houses. So that's the problem of bicameral system, is that the two houses can forever clash on a position. And that's why it has been going up and down, up and down, up and down for 3 years. It's these two houses. And both of them can make laws. That's the problem. Yes, so that's what they need to solve. All right? Yes, it is the real problem is the British system. Anyway, so now imagine we have a world parliament, but we are under a monarch, and so our parliament is in London, for example, and all the MPs are okay. In UK, we are using the UK model. So they call them members of parliament. So every country has members of parliament and they go to London and they meet and make laws. Then the executive, the whole world will elect a prime minister. And this prime minister will elect a ministers, and their ministries will cover every issue, every ministerial issue in the world. So like the Ministry of Finance will be the finance minister of the whole world. And the Ministry of Energy will be the minister of energy for the whole world. And the Minister of Transport will be the minister of transport for the whole world. That's what I am suggesting. But I will suggest it on the American one, not here. For a reason. As I told you the reason, I'll tell you the reason. But it can still work here. So, instead of picking, every country picking ministers, we pick one minister for the whole world, for each ministry. And then, the civil service, the global civil service, will be the ministerial offices we have in the world. So like the Ministry of Energy, let's say it's in London, because we're using the British system. The Ministry of Energy will have branches in every country, and they will all answer back to that Ministry of Energy. And their budget is prepared from London, because the Minister of Energy is our minister, because we elected the Prime Minister. We had a global election for the Prime Minister. And we elected, let's say we said Barack Obama to be the Prime Minister of the world. And he now got a cabinet. And that cabinet was now, he puts, let's play with names, Monica Lewinsky as the Minister of Energy. And she is the Minister of Energy of the world. So she now picks people through a process, and every country has a representative of the Ministry of Energy in that country called the Ministry of Energy. Kenya, the Ministry of Energy, Uganda. And all of these guys answer back to that one Minister of Energy. And the policies and the representative of the Minister of Energy in London prepares the budget and everything for that country and sends it back to the Minister of Energy in London. Right. Now the judiciary, all the judges in the world will go through an interview process, and they will be picked, and we will have one Supreme Court, international, and the hardest cases will go to that court. But the courts in every country will be connected to that court, and they will be trained in the same curriculum in every country. So a judge in South Africa is the same as a judge in Brazil, even if they speak different languages. They went through the same training, the same curriculum. And then these two judges, they say, I've really done a lot of work judging. And the other one will speak in Portuguese, gracias, blah, blah, blah. And they say, let's try and be in the Supreme Court in London, the capital of the world, for example. And then they say, wow, okay, let's apply. And they apply. And they pass the interview because they are very good judges. And then they become the justices of the Supreme Court of the world. And so when any case goes there, just know it's a very serious case. Like Israel and Palestine, it should be solved in court. Yes. Not war. Court. Because war, we know it's going to happen. People will die. And we'll have another story of history. Sadness, memorials. And we don't need that. We need to show that we have matured as a world. Can you imagine fighting again? In the Bible, they've been fighting genocides. Then in the 21st century, we are still fighting. What have we learned? Nothing. 2,000 years ago, Rome destroyed Jerusalem. 2,000 years later, Iran wants to destroy Jerusalem. Can you imagine? 2,000 years of no learning. It's madness. It's a mad world. And someone wants to say we are sane. We are not sane. We are gone. Yes. 2,000 years ago, Rome obliterated Israel. 2,000 years later, there is an alarm that war is coming. So what does that mean? We haven't changed. It's supposed to be 2,000 years later, an Israeli and a Palestinian are working together, a trade deal. They are selling fish. They are selling oil. A Palestinian drives to Israel and said, "Oh, I just want to see my family next door." "Oh, that's lovely. Come in." And an Israeli goes to Gaza and he has a shop there. A big business. It's booming. And then you hear Allah Akbar, the prayer has begun, and the Israeli is saying, "It's okay, those are the Muslims here. I'll just wait for my Shabbat." You know, that's the world we want to create. A world of peace and prosperity where the plowshares are turned into, the swords are turned into plowshares. You know, the guns are turned into smartphones. People will trade and people travel around the world. We are there. That system is there. That's why there's war. That's why there's trouble. All right. So that's if the British system was the system of the world, and I've explained to it. Now I want to use the American system because that is my favorite. But if possible, yes, we can have a monarch if we want. For people who love royalty, like, "Oh, we just want to see a king and a queen." We love that. I'm waiting for king and king because these guys, they don't think gays are royalty. Gays are royalty. Yes, lesbians like Queen Anne. Queen Anne never had a husband. I bless her. I love her for that. Yes, she was a lesbian. So I love her for that. Yes, that's how it should be. I know King James was gay, but he married to hide it. And I don't support that. I support if you're gay, be gay. Yes. Everybody should respect every sexual orientation. Yes. If we respect straight people, which we do, then they should respect gay people. If you respect a polygamous person, then you should respect a monogamous person. If you respect a polyamorous person, you should respect an asexual, a celibate person. You can have a president who is celibate. You know that. Are you going to shoot him? You can have a president who is polygamous. Are you going to shoot him for that? President Zuma had 4 wives. Who was going to shoot him that you have many wives, so we kill you? It's madness. Yes. People have preferences. Some people want to stay alone. Others want to be with very many people. Others they're just crazy. Elizabeth Taylor had 6 husbands. Was she mad? Was she stupid? Did she deserve to be killed by someone for doing that? No. It's her life. So we all have a private life which is sometimes public when we are in public. Like now, what you're seeing with Meghan and Harry, they are going through the reality of life. They are now, in fact, I would advise them, that's the world. Yes, you are celebrities. And people are going to write smack. They're going to write many things about you. And you will not believe it. So if you have time to sue on. We're not refusing you to sue. The father sued and he got his money. That's okay. Yes, but that's what I want them to understand. That's a celeb's life. They will talk a lot about you. So welcome to the world. Anyway, so now let's give the United States of Gaia using the American political system. Now, in the American political system, in my United States of Gaia, let's see how we're doing. Good. We've spent good time. I will just imagine a scenario. Arthur Wittig rises up and tells the world, it's time we change the system of the world. Because there's so much chaos. In fact, the problem we're having in the world, we are solving global problems locally. That's what's happening. Climate change. I was watching the UN summit and I saw Greta and the Pope talking about climate change. And she was attacking the leaders. I mean, they were like, I mean, and Trump didn't even have time to listen to Greta. And I know what Greta was saying, but I realized something about Greta also that she should also be aware of. Political systems is the problem. It's not even climate change or the failure of the leaders to do anything. It's that it's the political system the world is using. That is the problem. Now, she went to UNGA, which is the World Parliament. Now, UN also has a problem. There is no system that's perfect. So, the imperfection of the UN is that nations are sovereign. They have national sovereignty. Now, what's the problem with national sovereignty? Is that you cannot unite. Because you will be doing different things from another person and you will crash. Alright? I want you to see the United States of America when it began. Because we are using the United States of America system. So I want to show you something that will support what I'm saying. So that's my issue with the UN is that they raised national sovereignty and therefore nationalism to the highest degree that countries can do what they want, much as the UN is an international organization. I don't attack them because it is a uniarchy. Nationalism, in my view, is patriarchal. Globalism, in my view, is matriarchal. So UN, in my view, is a uniarchy. And in a uniarchy, you have the patriarchy trying to coexist with the matriarchy. So you have nationalists trying to coexist with globalists. All right? So the problem of that trying, there are some challenges. Now look what happened to the climate change. You see, they had a treaty, they signed a treaty in Paris or in France. And what happened? Trump withdrew. He came out of it. And he has every right to come out of it on the basis of national sovereignty. See? He's feeling like, you know what? I don't agree with this deal because it's putting a lot of pressure on me or the country. Okay, this one is not so... I was reading something very nice today to do with the American map. I'm not seeing it. Oh my goodness. Let's see what this is talking about. So there's a very good map. I need it. And so Trump did that. Yes, like this one. This is a good map and hopefully we'll get what we're looking for. So Trump left the France deal, Let's look at it, Trump and the climate change. see, climate change treaties. All right. So, United States withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. So you see, on June 1st, 2017, they left, and he said it will undermine economy and puts a permanent disadvantage. That's what Trump said. All right? Trump said that. Now, what was the basis of the Paris Agreement? It was the United Nations, of course, the UNIACI Framework Convention on Climate Change, and they initially agreed to reduce carbon dioxide by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The agreement differs from the 1997 protocol, lastly widely adopted amendment to the UNFCCC, in that no annexes are established to lessen responsibility of developing nations. Rather, emissions target for each nation was separately negotiated and are to be voluntarily enforced, leading United States officials to regard the Paris Agreement as an executive agreement rather than a legally binding agreement. So they didn't agree with it because they felt it was too executive. All right? So this is global carbon emissions. China is number 1, followed by USA, followed by EU, followed by India, Russia, Japan. So America left because they felt, and Trump was told to do that withdrawal by 22 Republican senators. And these, both senators in Texas and parts of the Bible Belt, they said, you gotta get out of that thing. And he did that. So anyway, we don't want to talk about this so much. I'm just trying to show you the power of national sovereignty, is that you can have somebody, a nation can come out of an agreement as important as this on the basis of national sovereignty. Now, my advice to the UN or the UNIACI is that in the long term, I envisage a world whereby we have one parliament, we have one world president, we have one judiciary, we have one legislature, and all the countries of the world, we will now call them states. Now, I had wanted to show you the map of United States of America because of the history this country has gone through, having a lot of problems as a federal union. So I want to see where I was reading today is still there. Hopefully I'll get it. Yes, there it is. Wonderful. So I was reading it from another application. So these are the Confederate States of America. I was doing my own research about American history, and there's a very good map, the evolution of Confederate States. So this is the map I wanted.